Hey there, nerds. We're back. It's been a while. Did you miss us? I missed you. I am joined here today by a very special guest, first time caller. I'm kidding. He's just a friend of the show, the mouth of the South, Austin Eller. How we doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm great, Pedro. First time. What is it? First time caller? Wait, long time listener, first time caller. That's the
Yeah,
word I'm going.
right.
Sentence I'm going for.
And then
Yeah,
when he leaves, he's like, "I'm gonna hang up and listen."
yeah. I'm gonna hang up and listen.
How we doing, buddy? How are you?
It's good, man. It's been kind of a rough week for me personally, so it's
Yeah,
it's good to have something good to look forward to today. Talk to you guys for a little bit here on this wonderful episode of the show. I'm glad to be here.
yeah. Welcome to Alpha Nerds. I am also joined by my lovely co-host. Some would say he's the man that stirs the drink, known as Seth's Like Us. How we doing, buddy?
Pretty good. I don't know what that means. I'm afraid to ask. The man that stirs the drink.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, really, if you look at it, like a lot of our nucleus of people revolves around we all met through you.
Oh yeah.
So that
I
would
see.
make yeah.
I am the
So that's why I
connection.
say, yeah, he's the connection. He's the glue. He's the glue guy.
Yeah.
So. How you been, buddy? It's been a while. I miss you.
I'm good. You just saw me last night, so
I know.
it
It's
hasn't
too
been that long. Yeah, nothing really going on at all. I did go to the Pennsylvania State Museum last week.
Oh.
Pretty cool. Saw a giant room-sized painting of Gettysburg. And a whole bunch of dinosaur skeletons and stuff like that. Pretty neat.
Nice. Was the
Nice.
electric chair there?
The electric chair was not there.
That's always a treat.
Apparently, there is an electric chair at your prison, though, in the basement.
Yeah, it's in the death house, but usually they put it in the museums for everyone to see, and then somehow it makes its way back. But in Pennsylvania, we don't kill anybody, so it's kind of I don't really. Yeah. But anyway, I digress. So we'll get right into it, buddy. What you been playing, Seth? What's going on? Talk to us.
All right, Pedro.
Yeah, Seth.
Most recently, I have been playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2. I finally got off the goddamned mountain. Those damn O'Driscolls been keeping me busy on that mountain for the last couple days. Now this, as you know, I'm not a big fan of cowboys, but people have been talking about Red Dead Redemption 2 for the longest time. So I figured, I'd give it a shot, see what I'm missing. It's fine. I really appreciate the attention to detail that Rockstar puts in their games. And I think that's really cool, especially in Red Dead Redemption. Not so much in Grand Theft Auto, but in Red Dead Redemption, everything is extremely detailed in that game. And I think that's pretty cool. Not really vibing with the actual story and plot so far, but the game itself seems totally fine so far. And it's not blowing me away like I think a lot of people did. I was surprised when there's no PS5 version of this game. Isn't that kind of weird?
That's still
Yeah.
surprising to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I was really expecting there to be like a PS5 upgraded version. There's not. It looks totally fine in the PS4 version though. So maybe that's why. I don't know. But yeah, I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm still at the beginning of chapter 2, just kind of putzing around, doing random stuff. But yeah, it's really fun. And other than that, the only other game I've been playing recently really is Monster Hunter Wilds, which I don't. The new update came out yesterday, I think, and I have not gotten to play it yet. I thought about playing it, but I played Red Dead Redemption instead. So yeah, really great game though. Pedro, you thought about getting it. How come you decided to pass on Monster Hunter Wilds?
I was talking to Austin before we even got on air here, and I just keep stopping and starting with it, and like I don't know if I want to pay full price, to be honest, if that's for something that I may not even. So like whenever there's like a sale, I may jump in, but yeah, like I just kind of like every time I try it, it seems to not stick for me. I don't hate it though.
Those games come down in price too pretty quick. So
Yeah.
I bet it'll be like 30 by Black Friday if I had to guess.
Right. Yeah.
Capcom games usually go on pretty good sales.
Yeah. Or it could be a PS Plus, please. You never know.
Yeah. And then the other thing I've been dabbling with is Trails Through Daybreak 2, which I know me and you talked about last night. Just can't really force myself to play through it right now. Definitely the with Black Sheep of the Trails family so far. Just not really getting into it. Not really catching me. Not that fun.
I would go say it's like more like the redheaded stepchild, where like the black sheep, like you call something like a black sheep, there's usually a sect of people that like really like it.
Yeah.
But like this game, not that I've heard bad things, but it's like I haven't heard good things. It's very like mediocre.
Yeah,
From
it really
everything,
killed the
all the
vibe coming
vibes.
out.
Yeah. And then I had a disgusting experience through Amazon where this is a second Trails game that they've gotten to me late or just never showed up. So that immediately ruined my, like, put a bad taste in my mouth. And then like I'm like, I don't want to play this right now. I'm out.
Yeah.
Oh man. What about you, Austin? What have you been playing?
Yeah, man. I still a ton more Monster Hunter Wilds. Seth already mentioned it, but of course I'm a massive Monster Hunter fan and have been playing pretty consistently since it came out. I think I'm at 90 hours. So
Nice.
just plowing through. Andy and I started the update, which came out Friday, messed around with it, fought both the new monsters, and now it's just kind of a matter of getting their gear and prepping for the next update, which will be in a few weeks. They're adding a even stronger Ray Dow, which is one of the best new monsters in the game, in my opinion. So that's coming, and just a lot to prepare for. But it's good. Like the grind feels good once you get to the end of the game. Having played it when it came out, I don't feel like I'm falling behind. Like I feel like it's giving the Capcom's giving you enough time to kind of get caught up and stay in tune, I suppose, with the updates rather than just like pushing out a ton at one time, which I respect. So yeah, I'm loving it though. Really a good game. I mean, certainly so far my favorite game of the year. And then the other one I started playing this week because I was trying to kind of pick up the final few Switch games that I don't have. I'm not going to get every first party game, but there are like a few left that I want to buy, and Pokemon Legends Arceus was one of them that I did not have and had not played. So it was on sale on Woot, which is owned by Amazon. If you haven't heard of it, it's kind of like the TJ Maxx of Amazon. Like they just put on like their warehouse products and like things that they haven't sold for cheaper. So I think I got it for 40.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Brand new. And so I am about 7 hours into Arceus. I did not play Sword and Shield, but I did play and love, sadly, Scarlet and Violet. But I really like it so far. I think it's really good. It's a different style game for sure. The progression was a little confusing to me at first, and like how you fill out your Pokedex and the different ways. Like you have to kill a Pokemon a certain amount of times, capture it a certain amount of times, like see, leaf cutter a certain amount of times from a Pokemon, whatever it may be, for you to complete that Pokedex entry. That was a little confusing to me at first, but aside from that, I really like it. I think it's a really good game. It is ugly. It's very ugly.
Stinky Switch.
Playing on a 65-inch LG C3 OLED just does not. Those two things do not mesh together. But I still really like it. I think it's a really, from what I've played, really good game. I don't know if I'm going to finish it, but I hope I can because I'm enjoying it so far.
Yeah.
But
I dabbled in that, but like where the dream died was that frame rate where I was like, yeah, had they just got me a stable frame rate, I was all the way in, but it's too jarring for me.
Yeah. It's crazy to me though that like this game still somehow manages to look better than Scarlet and Violet. The mainline games in the series, it looks better than, and
yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is with Game Freak. Like they, for some reason, the Switch era of Pokemon games just haven't like on a technical level. I don't know what it is. Like because 3DS, I thought it was fine, but yeah, the Switch ones like they all run like kind of like garbage. I just don't get why.
Well, it's so weird too because Let's Go came out, and those games, admittedly, are far more linear than the following, 3 series games, whatever, Sword and Shield, this game, and Scarlet and Violet. Admittedly, a lot more linear, but that game is like technically fine. I mean, it's a really pretty game. Controls well, no frame rate issues, but then every game since problems.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm hoping that like and we'll get into it with Switch too. Like they can rectify a lot of that.
So
For
how
sure.
come I didn't know you never played Sword and Shield, Austin? How come you never played those?
That was kind of when I was like Pokemon'd out. Like there was a point in time, there was about 4 or 5 years where I just was not really in a Pokemon mood. Really, when I would say it started when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out. I love those games. But then after that, until really the past like 2 or 3 years, I kind of jumped off the Pokemon train for a while. I tried Let's Go. Wasn't a huge fan of it, even though I thought it was, again, to go back, like technically a good game. But the whole like throwing the Pokeball thing, it just didn't really work for me. And so,
Right.
and I didn't really play much of Sun and Moon or the upgrades of those.
Yeah.
So I just kind of jumped off. And Sword and Shield, I mean, I heard so much bad about those games that I just never felt inclined to go back and play them. I don't even own them. So,
Oh wow, not even in the collection.
Yeah.
not even in my collection. Yeah.
Banished.
They're not the best Pokemon games, but I think they blow Scarlet and Violet out of the water. I think
Yeah.
the only part about Scarlet and Violet that I think are like really good are the final areas that you go into after you beat the game. I
Yeah.
think those are actually really cool. But I think the rest of these games are pretty middling at best.
So
Yeah.
for me, the last Pokemon game I played like extensively, I think, was like Alpha Sapphire. Is the Elite Four back? Are we back?
No.
Are they not? Yeah, there's no reason for me to be
wait.
there then.
Were they not back? I think they were back in Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, you might be right. I think you're right.
Yeah, because I remember playing Sun and Moon, and they're like, we didn't have gyms. I'm like, I don't know
Yeah.
what's going on here. I don't like any of this.
This is not what I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they were back in Scarlet and Violet, but and there were gyms, but like the progression was weird where you could,
Yeah.
they were trying to set
gotta
it up
do it-
like Breath
yeah.
of the Wild where you could go in any order.
Yeah,
The problem is you could go to
Totem
one region within the first 5 hours and the guy would have level 70 Pokemon. So it just,
Yeah.
they
Little
still,
underleveled son.
it didn't work the way they were intending.
Yeah.
Oh man. Good stuff. Good stuff. Anything else, Austin, before we move on?
No, that's it for me, man. Just
Awesome.
those two.
Very nice. Yeah. For me, I've been actually, ironically enough, dabbling a lot with my Switch lately. So I recently, like maybe a week or two ago, finished Link's Awakening. And
Nice.
yeah, it's a really good remake. Because that was like one of my favorite Zelda games as a kid, and then just playing that remake was great. Only thing I didn't like was like the frame rate issue was like kind of a weird. I didn't understand why it had a frame rate because I didn't think it was like a graphically intensive game, but I just did Switch problems. But overall, I really liked my experience. I'm like, oh man, I forgot how much I love Zelda. And then I was looking at my collection because that was actually the first Zelda game I'd beaten in 20 years. I didn't realize it'd been that long. And because the last one I beat was Twilight Princess, so I was looking at my collection, like, oh, I have Skyward Sword. Started playing that. That dream immediately died. Because I don't like the motion controls. They feel weird, and then they're mapped to the stick now, and I was like, this Zelda game's not for me. So I may get the new one, the Echoes of Wisdom, where you actually ironically play as Zelda.
Yeah. Dude, I'm going to warn you though, like, and this is why I didn't play it. I have it, but the frame rate issue in Link's Awakening is amplified by like 10 in Echoes of Wisdom. It is so much worse in that game. And I don't understand because like you said, it's not like it looks good, but it's not so good that it should run at 20 frames a second.
Yeah. Oh man, that's disappointing to hear. Because like I'm not a big Breath of the Wild guy. Not that I hate the game. I just like when I play Breath of the Wild, everyone's like, oh, it's this big, grand scope game. But I'm like, yeah, but I'd rather just play like Skyrim or The Witcher.
Yeah.
Like there's just games that have done that better where like to me that world is kind of bare bones for me anyway. But I know like people really like it. I just was not a Breath of the Wild guy. And then I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles X, and that game, I don't understand how it runs on Switch. I don't get it because like that game is massive, and there like while there are some like minor technical hiccups with it, overall like the game runs really well, and like the scope and how big the world is, like anything you see in the distance you can go to. Like there's some pop-in. But again, from being a port of a Wii U game, I've actually been really, really impressed with Xenoblade Chronicles X. The battle system is great, unlike in 2, where it was like super confusing at first.
Yeah.
And I know, Seth, you put like what 100 hours into 2. You like just about did everything in 2.
I crushed 2 and 3.
Yeah,
Not a big fan of 3. I put a lot of time into 1. I love Xenoblade Chronicles X. I do not care about. I don't know why you're starting with X. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Did you not see the mechs? There's mechs.
Yeah, there's mechs in all of them.
Yeah, but these are like you can pilot these mechs.
You can pilot all the mechs.
But I don't know. I don't really know what to say. I've always wanted to play X. I had X on Wii U, and just like famously, my Wii U was stolen, and I just never replaced it. But I have the sealed copy of X, and so it's been one of those the ones that got away. But I'm really enjoying my time with the game. So
Nice.
Yeah, good.
There's
good
a
stuff.
Sawano soundtrack in X.
Huh?
So Hiroyuki Sawano, the Attack on Titan composer, is the composer for Xenoblade X.
That makes a lot of sense.
That's the best part of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah. There's that soundtrack is super weird though. There's like the town music really doesn't fit. And then there's some there's some weird technical issues where like you're in the new LA and like you see cars rolling around and like, oh, I'm gonna jump on this car so I could ride it to go somewhere else, and I like clipped right through the car. I'm like, oh. But then there's like one parked in the street where you try to walk through it and can't. I'm like, okay. Yeah. There's definitely some quirks with that game, but overall I really like it. I can't wait to finish it, but there's a lot of meat on that bone. Like I've seen there's like over 200 hours worth of content, so I don't know if we'll quite get that far, but overall, really, really like it. And then the last two things I've been doing, been playing a ton of D&D. I joined a weekly D&D group online with a couple buddies from work, and that's been fun. Usually D&D is like that another thing that I usually start and stop with, but this one it seems to have really sunk in. I'm an elf monk, which is awesome, and I'm really having a good time with it. But we're playing Curse of Strahd, which everyone tells me like, why are you playing Curse of Strahd? I'm like, I don't know, that's the campaign that I jumped into. Like, I don't really. So, but it's been kind of hard lately with that.
Curse of Strahd is just really long. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So you're in for a good 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, we're here every Monday at 7 from 7 to 9. We're here. So that's been fun. And then I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel like a scumbag. It's so toxic. And I've got like about 9. I've been playing that on my Switch too, and it's been like about 90 hours of just building decks. Like I before I know it, like 6 hours has gone by. I'm like, what happened?
Nice.
It's bad. Yeah, there are times I have to like put that game down because like that's all I'll play all day. Like just doing online duels and doing like the tournaments and stuff. It's a problem. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. No, good times. So now we are going to get into Seth's favorite part of the show, the meat and potatoes of what we're here to talk about today. So as we all know, Nintendo finally decided to reveal the Switch. Or not reveal the Switch 2, but speak more on it beforehand. I think it was like February they had the random 1 minute reveal, which I feel like they did that like out of spite. Like it like leaked. They're like, fine, here's a stupid video. We'll tell you in April. That's kind of the vibes I got from it. But when they did the Switch 2 reveal on April, it was April 2nd they did it?
I think so.
Yeah. But they weirdly had a direct right before that, which I thought was very strange. Because like nothing crazy they showed Metroid Prime 4 in that other direct, which I don't know why.
I think that was the point, right? It was like they were just trying to get like as many of the non-Switch 2 games out of the way as possible, so that they can focus the second direct on the Switch.
Yeah, that first direct was so like hyper specific too to like a specific like Venn diagram of Nintendo fans, like the Rhythm Heaven and Tomodachi Life fans. Like I love those games, but I know that direct was not mass market appeal. It was very, very odd.
Yeah. I just thought it was weird. Honestly, I don't know if we even needed a direct for all that.
No.
But the Switch 2 direct, overall, what'd you guys think?
It was fine. I thought that it was kind of underwhelming, honestly, because like going into it, I was really excited for the Switch 2 because I really like my Steam Deck, and I'm really getting into like these kind of more portable gaming solutions. And the Switch for me is just way underpowered, and ergonomically, it's not really there. But I was really excited for like a more powerful Nintendo console that would come in and kind of just replace my Steam Deck. And what I saw just really wasn't that. And I thought that the presentation was kind of bad, to be honest with you. And I wasn't really blown away by the graphical fidelity of the games. And there's the whole price discussion in that's I'm not super worried about that. I know Nintendo's taking a lot of bad PR for raising the price of the games, but I don't really care too much. And I expected the $450 price tag because that's the general that's the going price of video game consoles now.
Yeah, I think that's about the sweet spot. Yeah.
I didn't think they were going to go above the PS5, but I thought they were probably going to get as close as possible to it, just because that's where the price is for video game consoles now. Why would you charge less money when you can charge $450? Yeah, and you're going to get the same amount of sales, I think.
So what about the Switch? The Switch 2 technically, did you find underwhelming? Because I thought like my opinion on that is like I thought they kind of more or less where I thought they would be. It was almost like essentially I would say slightly less powerful, or maybe on par with the PS4 Pro, maybe a little bit more. Like I don't really know, but that's the vibe I got, and I don't know. I thought like it was adequate. Like I didn't seem to. Yeah, I guess I didn't go away from that like thinking it was technically underwhelming.
Well, I didn't see anything that they showed off on the Switch 2 that didn't seem like it would run on the regular Switch. I think everything just seemed like...
I don't know about that. I mean, you think Cyberpunk could run on the base Switch?
Well, no. I guess I'm not talking about third-party games, right? Like, I get third-party games are a little different conversation. But like, as far as like their first-party Nintendo games, which is the reason you're going to buy that console, I didn't really see anything that blew me away. Right? I still think the new Pokemon game, even with the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade, looks pretty bad. If you look at like the textures and resolution of it, it's like not there. And I'm like, that sucks. Metroid Prime 2 or not 2, Metroid Prime 4 looks like it's gonna it would run on a PS3. I don't know, man. I understand Nintendo goes more for like the artistic style, but you have to sell me on a higher power, right? Like you have to make this thing, you have to give me a reason to want to buy this, and I didn't come away from that conference being like, this is the reason I want to buy this.
I gotcha.
I honestly, I expected them to announce the next Pokemon generation.
That's what I thought too. I was a little shocked that
but I guess they probably don't want to take the thunder away from Legends Z-A.
Yeah, whatever that is. I would say maybe it's an art style thing, because like when I saw Prime 4, because I was gonna get Prime 4 for Switch, and I don't really know if I'll get a Switch 2 day one. It'll really, I mean, there's a lot of factors there, but like right now, I don't really. I'm not in day one. I just wasn't like, oh, I need to be there day one. Maybe down the road, but Switch or Prime 4 running at, I believe it was 4K 60 or 4K 120 or something like that. Like I thought that the idea of that looks good. I watched the Treehouse presentation afterwards. I'm like, this is run buttery smooth. I really love Metroid Prime though. So there's certain things that I really like, but yeah, I agree with you. I didn't think there was anything that I need to be there day one. Like, take my money, please. What about you, Austin? Like, what was your initial impressions?
I thought it was good overall. I mean, I didn't think it was spectacular, but I thought it was like a pretty good, like, initial, I know we had the reveal a couple months ago, an initial showcase of the system. I get what Seth is saying in a way. Like, I don't disagree that, like, looking at Mario Kart and Donkey Kong, and even though we haven't seen footage, like Kirby Air Riders, like, that stuff doesn't really seem like software that could only run on Switch 2. But again, I mean, we've only seen such a short snippet of it. Who knows really what the difference is like? I mean, resolution wise, it may be running higher than base Switch. I don't know. But anyway, point being that from a hardware standpoint, I thought it was fine. I mean, I thought the upgrade was nice based off what they were showing with like the games that were getting upgrades. So Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, and like you said, Prime 4 and all those games where they were kind of showing the difference. I thought it was nice to see like a Zelda open world game running at 60 4K, like instead of 2025 at 720p.
Yeah.
So I mean, and plus you've got the DLSS built in and ray tracing.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems quite a bit stronger than a Steam Deck and cheaper. So I don't really have any issue on that front. But that being said, I think the actual games they showed, like, of course I'm excited for Mario Kart. You know, I've always been a huge Mario Kart fan. I mean, that would be the main thing to draw me in day one, along with Donkey Kong. I think when they showed that Donkey Kong game, there was something in me that was like, thank God we're not getting another 3D Mario right now, because they need to do something different.
Did you not like Odyssey?
No, actually,
Whoa.
I think I'm in the minority, but I thought Odyssey was just fine. Like,
Wow.
I didn't think it was bad, but it didn't blow me away like a lot of other people.
Okay.
So I was really happy to see something that was not a 3D Mario, and I'm sure we'll still get one. But I guess just as I'm talking in circles, to round out the question you asked me initially, I thought it was good. I mean, I know we're going to get into the nitty gritty, but like the pricing, I think is certainly interesting. But
right.
I mean, right now I'm kind of 50-50 if I want one day one.
Yeah.
But that's where I stand.
So here's my thing with the pricing. We'll get into that. I'm with Seth. I don't really have a problem with the pricing. I think it's really funny that like Daddy Nintendo is going to be the one to tell you, yo, game prices are increasing and that this is what's happening.
Yeah.
And everyone will whine and complain, but eventually everyone will get over it. Just like when Nintendo tells you, yeah, we're shutting down our online stores and you're not going to bully us into not doing it. I'm like, Sony. I just think it's really funny when Nintendo will dictate to you what you're going to do. Like, yeah, we're going to reveal the Switch 2. You'll be there.
Yeah.
Like, I just think it's really funny the way they do that. But historically, and I will give Nintendo their flowers, usually when you buy a Nintendo game, it's quality. It works. Again, Pokemon aside, usually it works and it's quality. There's no crazy day one update. You know, so I can't sit there and be too critical of them charging more money, because like when I buy a Nintendo game, I know I'm going to get a quality product. So I can't like that's why I think they can get away with that. The collector in me is a little annoyed where like I like to get stuff physically. But
that's what I was going to ask you. Yeah.
Yeah. But I also understand, the trends, like, why wouldn't Nintendo and any game company, but specifically Nintendo, if you historically know them, why wouldn't they jump at a market that they can control 100%? Like if you look at the NES days, they were like third parties had to create fake companies in order to get chipsets and stuff because Nintendo was so cutthroat about how many carts they distributed and all that. So like if they can get a market that they can control, they're gonna do it. So, like, that's why I don't really have an issue with it. I will say the other caveat I'm going to give them with the pricing, I think they're getting an unfair shake with everything going on in our climate here specifically, because there's that news that came out with they're delaying pre-orders because of the tariffs and all that, which, whatever. But, I also think, like, however that inflates the price, like, I can't really get mad at them. Like, you gotta adapt to the market. So that's kind of like, I think they're going to get a little bit of an unfair shake there.
Yeah. Well, and it's like the same thing with everyone always brings up Brazil because they have those ridiculous tariffs in that country where, Switch 1, PS5 costs like $1,000 for people there because they've got those tariffs. But that's not their fault, sadly.
Right. Yeah.
That's a political issue. So
I was going to say, I bet that whoever made the decisions at Nintendo to delay releasing this thing until midsummer are like kicking themselves in the ass right now, because they've had these things in warehouses forever, right?
Yeah.
So they're just like, oh, damn it.
Yeah, dude. And there's obviously, I don't want to get super political with this, but there's so many different nuances too with it where, like, I'm sure you guys have seen the reports that they had shifted all Switch 2 production to Vietnam to try and avoid the tariffs, but then Vietnam got slapped with equally high tariffs. So it didn't even matter.
Yeah. That's
just crazy.
It sucks because I do feel like that kind of compounded the pricing. Like there was sticker shock, I think, with the physical games. I think there was legitimate sticker shock. But again, I don't have a problem with like devs charging adequate money. Like let's say if the next Cyberpunk game come out and it was $100, as long as it works, I'm in. All right, you can take my money. Like whatever, that's quality product. So it's like, what are you gonna do? But yeah, like with the political stuff being compounded on them, I think it kind of like really painted a narrative that may not necessarily be true. But things that they did that I really like. I like their I don't know if we would call it their migration system, where if you have the Switch Online, the upgrades will be free, which I think that's really good. That's an awesome idea. And I thought the Pro controller looked good. I like it's a sharp controller.
It's my favorite controller.
Yeah, no, it's a great controller. Yeah, I can't, and I don't understand what the battery is made out of, but it just never dies.
Yeah, dude. And they actually kind of buried the lead with the new one, because now it's got back paddles on it.
Oh, yeah.
Which they didn't even show in that trailer. So
yeah, that whole disc, whatever that chat function is, they get rid of that. That was no good. That ran like
fast forwarded through that part. They were taking so long on that C button expo. I was like, all right, I'm tapping my YouTube fast forward button through that whole thing.
I hope you can change what pressing that button does, because I'm never going to use it.
Yeah, no, like I don't know why we thought that was a thing. Like I can respect that they're finally adapting with the times somewhat. Like, yeah, maybe you should have a console that has built-in chat. That'd be great. Instead of telling me to use a phone app and then get upset when you get laughed out of the room, Nintendo.
Is it just me, or that looked exactly like Discord's setup, right?
Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, that is I thought it was Discord at first.
Yeah.
I guess it was just them copying Discord.
Honestly, I don't know why they just didn't integrate Discord. Like, that probably would have been smarter. But they can't control it. And yeah.
I love too the screen sharing when they were showing it was running at like 3 frames per second.
Yeah, running
like, who's going to be watching their friends play a game
Nobody.
at that frame rate?
If I ever get a Switch 2 and any of my friends send me a video invite, I'm unfriending you. Like, don't ever, like, no, I don't want to see that. Yeah, and then that camera, like, I'm like, come on, Nintendo, like, get rid of this fucking camera. I just don't get
also, by the way, I do not buy that cheap little microphone on top of the Switch 2 records your voice from like across the room.
Totally agree. What the hell?
No way.
My Switch is like 30 feet from my couch and competing with the sound bar. Like, there's absolutely zero chance that thing's going to hear me.
Yeah. So they got to figure out some sort of solution. Like, I don't really understand. Nintendo just, for some reason, with online, they just can't get it. It just, I don't know. That's why I just get upset with them, because, like, if I see another friend code, I may lose my mind.
Yeah.
Here's my 16-digit friend code. Have fun.
Yeah. It's, oh my God. So yeah, that stuff was a bit silly. But I thought the pricing on the Pro Controller adequate. Same thing with the Joy-Cons. Like, I don't have an issue with that. Someone's probably going to start making third-party docks, because I don't know anyone who's going to. $90
I don't know if you can anymore, right?
Oh, yeah, with the fan built in now, yeah.
But doesn't it also give you increased power this time around?
Yeah, I forgot about that, yeah. Yeah, that is nice, though. That'll be nice. Trying to think of anything else I can think of. But let's get to the third-party stuff. So I want to call out one company, because they got me. And then I think there's a compilation of people reacting the same way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you probably know what I'm talking about. Square Enix. Don't do that. Don't do that. For that first, like, maybe half a second to 2 seconds, we all thought it was the moment. And it's fucking Bravely Default. Like, no offense to Bravely Default. Don't do that.
When that showed up, I literally looked at Andy sitting next to me, and I was like, is it Final Fantasy 9? And hell no, it was not.
So my reaction was almost like Seth's Final Fantasy VII remake reaction from years ago. Like, it was that level. I was like, oh my God, a Bravely Default. I'm like, oh, you sons of bitches.
I still got to play Bravely Default at some point. I hear it's pretty good. It's a
good game. It was just like, it's that person who, like, walks in and ruins the surprise party for somebody. Like, they'll walk in first.
Yeah.
That's. I feel bad, because now everyone's gonna remember Bravely Default, like the HD thingy, for like yo, you can't do that. They knew what they were doing. That was on purpose.
I had a similar reaction to the FromSoft game. Like, when it started, I was like, oh, is this Castlevania?
Everyone thought that too. Yeah,
hell no, it wasn't. And it's not even a FromSoft game I would play, because it's a PvP game, which I don't think anyone was asking for.
PvE, right? Like, or something like that.
Very odd.
Yeah, mate. I don't know, because, like, at first I thought, like, did these fuckers, like, get Bloodborne? Because that was my first reaction.
Yep.
And then I was like, no, well, that wouldn't make sense. And then I thought it was Castlevania. I'm like, oh, this will be badass. And then it's whatever, the Dusk Bloods or whatever. And I was like, huh. And then it said Switch exclusive. And I was like, huh.
Yeah.
What an odd marriage.
I have zero interest in that game. Like, I was hoping it was just going to be a standard FromSoft, but a PvP FromSoft game, that just is not what I'm into.
Are you out on the new Elden Ring game too?
Yeah. Well, but even that's like, it's co-op, right? Or is it PvP?
I think this Dustblood's going to be the same ilk. I think it's PvPvE, I think. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to see. I never actually played Elden Ring, so I don't really have any experience with that, but
It's an experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. I a lot of people who I know that love Souls games were like instantly angry. They're like, why is it a Switch 2 exclusive? I'm like, well, maybe it's more than likely a timed exclusive. I can't really see a scenario.
Oh, no, I think this is full exclusive. I don't think they would have done it if it wasn't full exclusive, dude, because it's so clearly Bloodborne. It's so clearly a Bloodborne inspiration that I mean, this is like going from Demon Souls to Dark Souls, I think.
Yeah. What is with that bag fumble? Like, why can't we get another Bloodborne, Sony? Like, what? Like, is there
so weird?
It seems like this is 100% on Sony's side. If I had to guess, I mean, they wouldn't have done this if it wasn't on Sony's side. I don't know. I was fully expecting the words Bloodborne to pop up on the screen at the end of the trailer when I was watching it. I was like, this is clearly Bloodborne, and it turned out it was Duskblood.
Yeah, basically.
It's pretty obvious. I mean, because the I forget the director, but he put out some like dev interview with Nintendo, and he was talking about like the plot of the game, how it's about people that get powers after taking in blood, and I'm like, this is the same.
Yeah.
This is the same. What is different here?
And they showed the moon in the beginning of the trailer, which like the last DLC for Bloodborne is apparently it takes place on the moon.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, well, here we go. This is Bloodborne.
Yeah,
maybe it's Nintendo striking back, opening up the blood debt that is historically between Sony and Nintendo.
Yeah, maybe.
But yeah, what a weird exclusive. Like, I don't hate it. Like, I think it's kind of cool, but yeah, it was odd. I was not expecting Nintendo exclusive from software.
Yeah, for sure.
What if we're looking at this wrong, and what if FromSoft are like these master negotiators, right? We're like, oh, Sony, you're going to pay us twice as much to make Bloodborne. Oh, no? All right, we're going to take it to Nintendo. You know, and what if that's the case? They're just like these hardball negotiators.
Yeah. I thought it looked interesting enough. The other thing is I saw Cyberpunk. I don't understand how they got that to be on a card. Like, I don't understand what. And from the impressions I've seen, everyone said it runs pretty well.
Yeah. So, I don't hope so. They're not going to make this pretty mistake twice.
It's pretty impressive. Yeah, because I think that they've already confirmed it fits on a 64 gig Switch card, which I think every other system, it's like 100 gigs, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, how is that possible?
Yeah, I don't know. It's amazing, though.
Yeah. I wish they would have shown a little bit more third-party stuff, like leaning to what Seth said, like to show off the technical prowess. But yeah, I just thought like getting Bloodborne, they're getting Duskblood, them getting the running version of Cyberpunk. Trying to think what else. Borderlands 4, I think, is coming to it.
Yeah, just trying to look. Yeah, Borderlands isn't too surprising. I'm sure we'll see Call of Duty this year because I know that was part of the Activision deal with Microsoft, was that would come back to Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yakuza 0 was one of them. Hogwarts Legacy, which is hilarious to me since they canceled the Switch version and now it's getting the Switch 2.
Switch can't run this. Oh, now we're going to put it on Switch 2, baby.
So actually, it's good we're having this discussion though, Pedro. Street Fighter 6 was one of the games. Did you see this thing going around about how the latency might be better on Switch 2 than any other system for Street Fighter 6?
No, that's awesome.
Some competitive player was at one of the Switch 2 like preview events and was saying that, in his opinion, I forget who it is. I'll have to go find it.
Dude?
It might have been.
Yeah.
But he was saying that from what he could tell, it played much better than the other systems, latency-wise.
He was just saying that about the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, too. Like, it was the best versions on Switch.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know what, though? When I saw that, I looked out because Adam came over and watched the Switch reveal with me. And I looked over at him and like, if I don't have Mario shooting Hadoukens, this is a missed opportunity. Complete missed opportunity. Like, I want to see a Mario Brothers DLC pack where I can trade hands with Luigi and Mario against Ryu,
Yeah,
kind of like we did in Smash Brothers. Like, this is a complete. Come on, Nintendo. Come on,
for
make it
sure.
happen. Yeah, no, that's crazy. It is interesting to see though. Like, would you say, does this make Nintendo more of a competitor now? Like, because like usually historically Nintendo, since maybe GameCube, now is like always in their own section where they just kind of go to the beat of their own drum. And I remember having a conversation with Seth, like it was like maybe a year ago. He was like, "How funny would it be if Nintendo one day comes back and goes, Daddy's back?" And like, do you think this was that attempt?
It does kind of seem like it.
Yeah,
Like it
that's
does
not. Yeah,
seem like a more premier console
yeah,
compared to anything they've ever released, really. Like,
yeah.
and it changes their strategy too. Of course, every Nintendo system we've ever gotten, basically, there's always some gimmick. And of course, there are some little gimmicks with this, like the mice or mouse thing and the camera and that sort of stuff. The C button, if you want to call that a gimmick, although
Yeah.
that's been a feature in every other system for 20 years. But
Mhm.
it's a different strategy for them, and it feels more akin to what Sony and Microsoft do with their systems of just here's a more powerful Switch.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, it could turn them into a more direct competitor. I don't disagree with that.
Seth, thoughts?
Well, I think anytime you have people spending money on video games, your competitors. I never agreed with this sentiment that Nintendo wasn't competing with Microsoft and Sony. I thought it was silly. I thought we were just being a bunch of silly ducks making those claims because it doesn't make any sense. You're spending money and time on the same hobby. You are direct competitors. No one's playing two video games at the exact same time. So I've always thought Nintendo was in some way a competitor to Sony and Microsoft. You know, I mean, just look at the Game Awards, right? Where Horizon seemed to get shafted by Breath of the Wild, right? And then they're like, "Oh, well, Nintendo's not competing with Sony." It's like, no, they are. They would absolutely are. People are playing both of these things. So I've always thought that they were a competitor, maybe not in the same way that PlayStation and Xbox were fiercely competitive with each other, but you are in competition with other people in your same market. There's just no other way about it. So, yeah, I mean, if they're playing third party games and get a lot more third party support, then I would say, yeah, they're a lot more of a serious competitor. But it's hard to say, you know. We'll see when the time comes, because right now they're showing off like, you know, Cyberpunk, which came out 5 years
Years
ago.
ago. Yeah, right.
True.
That's all I gotta say.
Yeah. Now it'll be interesting to see what they have down the pike, like the newest Zelda, what that's going to look like whenever 3D Mario comes. Because like with Nintendo machines, like historically you always buy the Nintendo machine for Nintendo games. Like I don't know
Right.
anyone who owned a Switch is like, I buy my third party games on Switch. Like usually people, unless you're Watson, people don't do that. He would
Yeah.
play like what was he playing? The Witcher or Skyrim? There's some crazy game that would run like
He played The
garbage on
Witcher 3 on
Oh no.
the Switch.
yeah, like
Oh no.
yeah, like why, like something like a normal person wouldn't do,
Yeah.
he did. But like again, most people won't do that. But now I think like that potentially that conversation could change a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm excited to see what that looks like. But that's going to be a fun segue into kind of the last component of this conversation, because I think we touched on a little bit of the state of Nintendo, you know, where they're going, what the momentum is, what the vibes are, and I'm kind of viewing this as like a mid-gen point for me, maybe slightly more. I don't know, depending on how you frame it. But what do we think of this console generation? Switch 2 aside, you know, not that's coming obviously, but what do we think overall thus far?
As far as like the PS5 and
PS5
Xbox
Series X, yeah. Obviously with Switch 2 coming in the midpoint, but what are we? What's kind of the things we've taken away from this generation? Like, because for me, like there's maybe been like one or two games that I've played that I'm like, yeah, this is why this is next gen stuff. Like this is really blown me away. And ironically, they've both been Final Fantasy games. It was Rebirth and 16. Other than that, like I haven't really played anything that's been like, this is why I bought this console right here. So
yeah, I think that's a pretty common sentiment. it seems like everybody I talk to feels pretty much the same way. And I think that we're reaching a peak, right? Like how good can you artificially make things look without, using like photorealism?
Yeah.
And we're reaching that point very quickly. It's really hard to tell a difference between some of these games running on PS4 Pro and PS5, and now we're gonna now we got the PS5 Pro, and they're just like it seems like very minor steps forward. Whereas before you went from the PS2 to the PS3 and it was like this massive leap forward. I don't think we're gonna get anything like that anymore. That was a single point in time. And now these leaps forward are going to be um like pixel congestion on the screen and load times and stuff, and they're just not as impressive. I'll be honest, people are talking about like the PS6 and the next generation. I really don't think we need it. I think going from the PS4 to the PS5 was necessary due to like load times um and just the amount of things you can put on the screen at one time. But I don't think we need much more. I really firmly believe that. I don't want my games to feel like real life. There's a point where things become a little too real that I think we're approaching very quickly, and I don't think that we've come anywhere near maximizing the potential of the PS5 yet.
No.
So I would like to see this generation be extended for as long as it possibly can, simply because it seems like it's starting to become more like the cell phone market, where they're trying to feed us new technology every 2 to 4 years, and I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty good, actually. I really don't feel like I need to upgrade my PS5. There's nothing that there is, but there's very few games that make me feel like I'm even playing a PS5 game. I look at my favorite games of generation, right? It's like Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy Rebirth, Helldivers. Helldivers could have been a PS4 game, right? I don't know, Spider-Man 2, which didn't seem that much more impressive than Spider-Man 1. I don't know. I just feel like you said, Pedro, there's only a few games that really make you feel like you're playing a really premium experience this generation. And with the price of games going up the way it is, let's just hang out here for a while. We don't need to keep pushing the envelope further and further and further. We've already reached like a really premium spot that we can kind of, it strikes a perfect middle ground. And I don't really feel like we need to keep pushing further in that direction.
Yeah, I agree with you, Seth. And I think the other portion of that has started to drive me insane is this push for realism and more advanced graphics has ballooned development costs and time for development of these games. And so, we'll get God of War Ragnarok, and presumably that was what, 2 or 3 years ago at this point. Presumably we won't get another game from them for 3, 4, or 5 years, which is just so frustrating. Like, I know that's the state of this industry when it comes to big AAA first party games, especially from Sony and Microsoft, but it's just too far in between these games, in my opinion. And I think that's making these generations less memorable because we're not really getting those games. We're not getting those hits like we did before. I would say even going up to PS4 generation. I thought that generation was pretty strong overall, but this one, to me, and I know COVID was still a factor early on in this generation, and I'm sure devs are still trying to recover from that in some ways, but it's just been very forgettable. I really feel like there has not been Final Fantasy 16 has probably really been the only like super memorable like next gen quote unquote experience for me, aside from maybe Astrobot. Like Astrobot was really good too, and there was really stuff in that game that was next gen, but it's just been so few and far between over a nearly 5-year time span. I would agree with Seth completely that I'd love to see games just continue to release on PS5 and Series X for like 5 more years, make it a 10-year generation or something like that. Because games are fine. To be honest, the games that are not running well, like Jedi Survivor and Monster Hunter Wilds, like that's a dev issue.
Yeah.
Those devs need to really focus more and hone in their energy on like optimizing these games. I don't think it's an issue of the game looking too good.
Yep.
and not running on the hardware. So
Yeah, I would say, and there's been a generation, like kind of what we were alluding to, also like a generation of like missteps, and not to dunk on them, but like I feel like Microsoft is probably like the biggest offender of that,
yeah,
where it seems like they just anytime they have a big game coming, it falls flat. Like so, like even like Avowed kind of didn't come out to great reception. Hellblade, same thing. Starfield,
Starfield.
same thing. And so it's almost, I don't want to say lacking skill, but I feel like that's, or lacking talent. Like I don't, or direction, or I don't know what it is, but it just seems like it's been like that's been endemic of this entire generation, because like they're not the only ones, but there have been just always like these gigantic missteps. Or like you have Sony and Concord, and then you have Ubisoft with anything they touch seems to go to garbage anymore. Like so, I feel like there's been an inherent lack of quality games from like the premium publishers that usually we expect stuff from. And then the other things, a lot of remakes. That's the other issue, where I'm cool with a remake every once in a while, but I feel like we're getting kind of beat over the head with them. Where we're getting, even like with RPGs, like we're getting all these remake, HD remaster, remake. I'm like, okay, let's see the new IP. Let's see some new stuff here, because that's like that lack of creativity is how like a company like Falcom, right, has kind of like weaseled their way into, like, most JRPG players either love East or they love the Legend of Heroes now. Like they kind of weaseled their way into the conversation, where historically their games were like, they're still technically not like, technical marvels by any stretch of the imagination, but they have great storytelling, great creativity, great characters. And that's starting to stand out a little bit more than the graphical fidelity and all this runs at 4K 60 and stuff like that. And then on the hardware thing, I was at Lewisburg Walmart today, and I saw literally just a stack of PS5 Pros, like like a stack of them. I'm like, wow, that's not good, because like,
yeah, dude.
yeah, because like PS4 Pros, I remember when they, like, you just didn't see them like at all. So like either they never had them in stock or they would just sell out all the time. And I saw like a stack of VRs. I'm like, oh no. So it's showing that people aren't really buying these like hardwares that don't, like sets that don't really push the envelope at all. Because like I still think my PS5 is fine. Like the graphical fidelity is great. I don't have an OLED. I have a mini LED. It's like the same thing basically, but I've been looking to upgrade my TV to get a panel that's 120 hertz natively, but I haven't found a reason to. Like that hasn't really, been that one reason. Like, let me spend thousands of dollars and upgrade my TV setup so I can run this game the right way, and that's crazy. I think it's crazy.
No, and I don't know. It's just it's fascinating. Like you said, I mean, I feel like the games on PS5 look fine. Like there's nothing there. I've never seen a PS5 game where I'm like, man, I wish this looked better.
Right.
Like there's just nothing there. And I really do believe, and again, I don't want to just rail on these people on their livelihoods, but I really do believe it's a dev issue. Like I just think that they are spending too much time prioritizing things that people really don't care about, to be honest.
Yeah,
Games
I
as
agree.
service.
So, yeah.
If we can see that trend go to hell, that'll be great.
I will say this. I think the one thing I've learned from this generation, now having built a computer recently that's like more than capable of playing a lot of this stuff, it has convinced me to never ever buy a Microsoft system again. Because I bought that Series X. I played like Forza Horizon 5 when it came out. And dude, I cannot tell you guys the last time I touched that thing. It has just been sitting there for at least 3 years.
You're doing the thing they want. Like, this is an Xbox and this is an Xbox. Like, you're doing what they want. You're their customer base now. Xbox is just a brand now, but please buy our hardware too. Like, I don't understand with them. Like, so yeah, it's just been definitely a weird generation. Last thing, favorite game of the generation. I think for me, it's probably Final Fantasy 16. I just that was a game, like we said, that lived up to the hype. I enjoyed it the whole way through. Just super memorable. It was like watching it was almost like watching like an epic DBZ anime, like where like you're especially the boss fights, how awesome they were. Soundtrack kicking in, especially when you got the surround. If you got a sound bar, surround sound going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that game, chef's kiss. So that's probably my number one game of the generation. Probably close second would be Rebirth. But
yeah, I'm right up there with you, and it really upsets me how much shit Final Fantasy 16 gets constantly, dude. It is constantly shit on. And does it have its issues? Yes, but that's not the reason people are shitting on it. People are shitting on it because it's not a turn-based Final Fantasy,
It
and
can't be.
that sucks. I don't know. I don't understand the disconnect there between like me and you, who've been lifetime Final Fantasy fans, and these assholes that throw everything under the bus because it's not a turn-based Final Fantasy. Like, those games are still coming out. They still exist. Like, there is iteration upon iteration of turn-based Final Fantasy inspired games that are coming out, and you don't play those, but you just, I don't know. It's extremely frustrating, and Final Fantasy 16 probably is my favorite game this generation so far. With the only caveat being like those middle portions of the game that are just horribly dull.
Yeah.
The fetch quest. I don't understand how that game has such high highs but such low lows. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
I agree with you. I would have a few games to name here, but just to continue on the 16 discussion for a second, like, it is weird to me. Like, I think about that game so fondly, but then I think about replaying it, and I just do not want to. Like, I love that game. I think it's one of the best. Like, that would definitely be on my list of best games this gen. But those lows make me really not want to go back. So
those fetch quests are so bad,
dude.
Yeah,
I tried.
You can see the DNA of Final Fantasy 14 all up in there.
For sure. I tried the DLC. I never even touched the second one, but I tried that first DLC, and I was like, "Damn, I cannot."
I haven't touched the DLC yet.
Do this.
I haven't done the DLC yet. Yeah.
They also do one of my gaming sins, which is they release post-game DLC that takes place in the middle of the story.
Yeah,
so
that's a foul. That's a foul.
I hate that, dude. You got to stop doing that.
Yeah,
it sucks.
That's a no.
Yeah.
So 16 would be one of mine. I would certainly say Astrobot. Like, yeah. What is there to say about that game? It's just perfect. The perfect platformer. I think it's probably my favorite 3D platformer of all time.
I agree.
Okay.
And then Alan Wake 2. Just another flawless game in my opinion. I love that game, and that's another game that like goes to show the power of the PS5. Like, we don't need any more because that game looks photorealistic.
Yes, I agree.
And runs totally fine.
So, I can't play Alan Wake 2 because I'm not smart enough, and also those jump scares really piss me off, dude. They're not even scary. They're just really loud and annoying, and it makes me angry when they do it. Because, Pedro, did you play Alan Wake 2?
No.
So randomly, while you're controlling the character, like you're not in a cutscene or anything, they'll do these jump scares where like a face will appear for a split second,
and just like scream on your screen
and it's like really annoying, and it happens way too often. It's so annoying, dude. I hate that.
I'm going to give one more, by the way, just an honorable mention. This was a more recent thing, so this could be recency bias, but Indiana Jones.
I gotta play that. I haven't played that yet.
The best thing Microsoft's released in like a decade, in my opinion. That game's amazing.
Though. That's coming over to Daddy on the PS5.
It is. Yeah.
Which that's a whole different conversation. But it did look good. It did look good. But I think one of the happiest surprises of this generation, I think, was Astrobot. Because I haven't played the sequel, but I loved Astrobot's Playroom. I thought if you're going to show off a system, that's the way to do it. Unlike Nintendo, real quick, whatever that tech demo that they're trying to sell people, whatever that was.
What a joke.
Yeah, that's an LOL. Like, I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but beside the point, Astrobot, I think, has been the happiest surprise of this generation. I was super happy to see it win Game of the Year because I feel like the art of the platformer is lost. Like a quality, like there's always going to be room for a quality platformer. And Astrobot taking the crown right now makes me excited because I think Nintendo's got to put out a Mario game to come for that title. You can't have the heavyweight belt of platformers with Sony right now. You just can't do it. So that just makes me excited because like they're gonna. I love Mario games, so I expect this next Mario game to really be awesome because my favorite 3D Mario is Odyssey. I love Odyssey so much. So that's why I was like, I reacted when you said you didn't like it. I was like, what? Because like you're the first person I've ever heard say that. So I was like, what? So
it was fun.
Yeah, shout out to Astrobot though. I love that game.
It's good, man. And I agree with you. It's good to have some competition in that space. I feel like we've been seeing more platformers like slightly under the table that have been rivaling good 3D Mario games, like Penny's Big Breakaway that came out last year, and it was a really, really good indie 3D platformer. And there's been a few others, but it's kind of nice to see a resurgence of that style.
Yeah.
So
hell yeah. Yeah, so yeah, definitely been looking forward to see what's going on with this generation. Want some more quality. Last thing before we get wrapped up, fellas, what's the game? What's the number one game you're looking forward to the rest of this year? Number one. What's number one? What do we got?
Ooh, that is a great question.
I have no idea.
Oh my god, yeah, I'd have to look. Hold on. I got to look at what's coming out this year.
You can't just drop this on us like
Monster
that.
Monster Hunter Wilds was like the one, and now it's out.
Was it?
So.
Okay.
You answer, Pedro. What
For
is
me,
yours?
Seth is. You're gonna see a reaction out of Seth because of this. But Death Stranding 2 is coming in June, and I already scheduled off. Like it's coming out on a week. Yeah, you know how I get down with this. Like I cannot.
I never beat the first.
Oh, dude, I love that.
You didn't even like the first one, Pedro.
No, I did like the first one.
No,
after
you
I
didn't. You played it, and then you were like, "No, I'm not into this." And then you went back later.
I loved it.
It always clicks the second time. That's how
See,
it works for everybody.
He gets it.
Because I never beat it. But I did not like it the first time I played. I went back a second time and played like a good 30 hours and loved what I played.
Yeah.
That game's just too damn long. Is my issue.
Then when I sat down the second time, it just like clicked and it like blew my mind because like I could spend all day on Death Stranding. But yeah, then when I see the second one's coming out already in June, I don't know if there's anything that's going to top it besides maybe the last entry in the Trail series. But I think it's got to be Death Stranding 2 for me. And we're real soon, maybe.
I'm like trying to figure out what's coming out this year that I'm excited for. I mean, just going off this direct, I mean, I am very excited for Mario Kart. I think the open world stuff they're doing is really cool. I like all the new characters they're adding and the new tracks. So that's cool. I feel like there is something I'm missing though. I feel like there's some huge game coming out that I'm really looking forward to, and I can't think of what it is.
Is it GTA 6?
No. Like
Ghost of Yota?
I don't know if I'm that excited for that game. Yeah, Yote is one of them for sure. That might be the answer.
Okay.
That might be the answer.
I gotta finish Ghost of Tsushima. I haven't finished that.
Yeah, I think let's go with that. I would say Doom, but I'm actually a little concerned about Doom.
Really?
Oh yeah.
The more footage I see of it, I don't know if you guys follow that series too closely, but
no.
Doom 2016 and Eternal were so like focused on fast paced, like energetic,
right?
Twitch based shooting. Well, this one is more like you're stopping and like parrying attacks, and you're not really moving around as much. You got a shield, and I just don't know if that's going to work. Like they're slowing the game down.
When I saw that, I got Doom 3 vibes a little bit, like because Doom 3 is like that where it slows down. It's more of a horror game than it is really a shooter. So it'll be interesting to play that because I love Doom. There's nothing I love more than like throwing on my surround sound and fucking listening to metal blast demons. It's great. It's awesome. What about you, Slyhouse? What do we got?
I think Trails to the Horizon is going to be my number one pick. I gotta force myself through Trails of Daybreak 2, and from what I understand, the game does pick up in the last 2 chapters, which makes sense, And I figure if I can force myself through Trails of Cold Steel 1, I can probably force myself through anything. It's not nearly as bad as that. So there's that. But yeah, I'm really excited for Trails to the Horizon because we don't know what's coming next for that series for the first time in our adult lives. So that's really exciting.
We're going to be fully caught up. Yeah.
Yep. Now, do you think I think me and you both looked at the calendar of the releases and how they've gotten closer and closer. Do you think the next game is going to be day and date, Pedro?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I think so. I think we're all going to be going for the ride, day and date.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's a beautiful thing. Austin, you got to get into Trails, buddy. Like you've got
there's too many
hours to donate to an RPG.
I don't even probably play that much of any games in a span of like 3 years. So it would take me like a decade to play this series.
I mean, this has been almost a decade running for me and Pedro. Yeah. Me and him started playing these games in like 2018.
So let me ask you, is there any way to like play one specific saga? Or like,
Yeah,
do you have to just play all of them?
So if you want to get the full scope and you want to get the deep cut moments, you got to play all of them. But if you want to play a specific saga, they say the Crossbell arc is a good jumping in point. And same thing with the Erebonia arc, which is like Cold Steel 1 through 4.
Okay.
So you could jump in at any arc. You could also jump in through at Daybreak as well, because Daybreak has like a big recap. You can read everything, read the lore, and kind of get caught up. But you'll lose the nuance of like when certain characters pop up, it's supposed to be like a big deal and it's a lot of fan service, and you'll miss that. But it's not like necessary to enjoy the game personally.
So what's the remake that's coming out? Is that like a good?
Yeah, that's a perfect place to jump in.
Yeah,
it's the first game in the series being remade.
Yeah, okay,
so maybe I'll try that. Maybe that's where I'll try it.
Yeah, that's a great game. Yeah.
Knowing you, Austin, I think you would like the Sky duology the best. I think just based on what you like, I think those games would be right up your alley.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. It's Trails is a time sink. I equate it to being like the One Piece of fucking video games. So I've played so much Trails to the point where I can't even make fun of One Piece fans. Like I can't.
It's frustrating though when you find that series and you feel like there's no good like jumping on point without just sinking so much time into it. Because I have that issue with Yakuza. Like I really want to play that series, but there's too damn many.
For me, Yakuza, they lost to me because I was like the biggest Yakuza fan there was for a while, and like me and Seth differ on this. Like I love 0, he really likes Kiwami. 2 is really good, and then after 2, Yakuza kind of like because Yakuza 3 is bad, Yakuza 4 is bad, Yakuza 5 is bad, and then I haven't played any of the new ones because I got Yakuza out. Like there's too many of these, so. Yeah. But yeah, last thing with Trails, like the thing that's like killing me about Daybreak 2, it's like I don't want to. It's the committing my like almost 90 hours to something. That's the issue there. It's the time thing. Like no. Yeah. Oh man. Well, anything in closing, boys? I feel like it's been a good show. Austin, thank you for joining us. It's been a pleasure having you here on Alpha Nerds.
No. Well, thank you. It's been good to be on with you guys. It was good to speak about the Switch 2. This is really my first chance to talk to anybody about it. So it's been good to talk about that some, and yeah, just good discussion.
Awesome. Seth, anything in closing, sir?
No. Glad to be here.
We're glad you were here too, buddy. Well, that's been our show. Check us out on our YouTube channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you would be so kind. Check us out on Facebook. I think we're Alpha_Nerds Podcast. And we'll catch you next time. Thanks, everybody.